The two most commonly used verbs in French are être and avoir. Être means to be, and avoir means to have. They seem very different from one another, but they actually do get confused a lot, and they are used at the same time very frequently. So we're going to clarify, when do you use the verb être and when do you use the verb avoir? First of all, here are the conjugations and pronunciations of each verb. Être is je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont. Être, je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont. Avoir, to have, is j'ai, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont. Avoir, j'ai, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont. I do want to point out that frequently my students will pronounce this il est, and they'll see the letter A and they'll pronounce it like the English alphabet, A, B, C. But remember, in French, the French alphabet goes A, B, C, so this is A. We do not want to pronounce it like the letter A because that is how you pronounce il est. I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes from. So this is je suis, I am, j'ai, I have. Tu es, you are, tu as, you have. Il est, he is. Il a, he has. When you use être, you are describing. So you're going to use être with adjectives, like il est timide, je suis amusante. He is shy, I am funny. You will add an adjective and make it agree with the subject il or je, and you'll conjugate the verb être. That means that you use être whenever you are describing. Elle n'est ni grande ni petite. She is neither tall nor short. You also use être when you're saying what jobs people do. Je suis élève, elle est professeur. So just like in English, I am a student, she is a teacher. You also use être with what grade people are in. Like je suis en troisième, I am in 9th grade. And you use être whenever you're saying is, like c'est amusant, that's funny, that is funny. So être is used to mean I am, you are, he is, and it's used with adjectives and descriptions, specifically with things like what job you have or what grade you're in. Here's a rundown of grades in case you were curious. In 6th grade, it's the same in French and English. 6th graders are 6th graders. But in French, they do a countdown after that. 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and final. So my 12th graders, they are in terminale. An 11th grader is in premier, aka first. 10th graders are in seconde, second, aka your 10th grade. And 9th graders are in troisième. Troisième is 3rd grade. You would still be in middle school in a French school. So seconde, premier, terminale, those are high school grades in French. Avoir, on the other hand, is used with things that you have. And first of all, you use avoir with age. Now, this is a difference between English and French. You do not say, I am 17. You don't say, je suis 17. That's thinking in English. It won't make sense. Instead, you say, I have 17 years. J'ai 17 ans. Whenever you're describing age, you have to include the word years and the number in front with avoir. J'ai 17 ans. I have 17 years. You use avoir when you're describing hair and you include the word hair, les cheveux. J'ai les cheveux noirs. I have the hair black. Same with eyes. J'ai les yeux marrons. I have the eyes brown. So if you see the word eyes or hair, you will want to use avoir to say that you have those features. And you use avoir with possession, like family members that belong to you, stuff that belongs to you. For example, j'ai un frère et deux sœurs. I have a brother and 2 sisters. So things or people or items you possess that belong to you. Whenever you say has, you'll want to use avoir. Tu as un crayon? You have a pencil. Nous avons biologie. We have biology class. Here are some more ages in case you weren't sure. 13 years old is 13. You'll say j'ai 13 ans. 14, j'ai 14 ans. 15, j'ai 15 ans. 16, j'ai 16 ans. 17, j'ai 17 ans. And 18, j'ai 18 ans. One quick thing to point out, I hope that that is pretty clear, but there are some idiomatic expressions that can be a little bit confusing. Age was one of them. So, like I said before, you would say, I have 16 years instead of I am 16. Well, there are a lot of other idiomatic expressions in French that use have, that use the verb avoir instead of I am. It's interesting because all of the French phrases have avoir, to have, and my definitions over here, a lot of them say to be hot, to be cold, to be hungry. French people instead think of them as feelings that you have. So think of it as I have hot, I have cold, I have hunger, I have thirst, I have sleepiness, and that might help you out a little bit. So these phrases are avoir ans, to have years, avoir chaud, avoir froid, avoir faim, avoir soif, avoir sommeil, avoir raison, avoir tort, avoir de la chance, avoir l'air, avoir besoin de, avoir envie de, avoir honte de, avoir peur de. These are just a few idiomatic expressions. There are more. Here are two examples. J'ai peur des serpents. Peur means to be afraid, but French people don't say I am afraid, they say I have fear of. So j'ai peur des serpents, I have fear of snakes. Cold is another example. In English, we would say, are you cold? But in French, it's a feeling you have. Do you have cold? Tu as froid? So they use the verb avoir in these examples. So let's do a quick summary of what we just saw. Which one, avoir or être, do you use to describe your hair and your eyes? And you use the word les cheveux and les yeux? Avoir. Which one do you use with adjectives? Être. Which one do you use with age? This is different in French. Avoir, you have ages. To describe what somebody has, that's avoir. What somebody is like, that's être. And then phrases like hot or hungry or scared, they use avoir. If that makes sense to you, you can pause here, but I do have a practice. If you wanted to practice this, pause the video for a moment, and you have to decide, should I use avoir here or être? And once you've decided between avoir and être, can you conjugate the verb correctly? So pause this video if you want to practice, and I will walk you through the answers. Numéro 1, les cheveux, that's hair. If I'm describing hair, I want to use avoir. J'ai les cheveux. Numéro 2, trick question. I am describing hair, but I don't see the word hair anymore. So I'm saying you are blonde. Être, tu es blonde. Numéro 3, I have an adjective, intelligent. So I want être, nous sommes. Numéro 4, what do I use with grades? She is in 10th grade, so elle est. With age, 17 ans, I want avoir, vous avez. Numéro 6, we have the word hungry. Hungry is used with avoir. I have a lot of hunger. J'ai très faim. Numéro 7, pénible is an adjective. It means painfully annoying. So I will say ils sont pénibles. They are painfully annoying. And numéro 8, tu as les yeux gris. You have gray eyes. Hopefully this cleared up a little bit more about what avoir and être are used for, how to tell the difference, and use them in French. Ciao!